Alright, so another fantastic Wednesday evening morning, and welcome to your favorite program on the station. It's AM Cafe, and it's time for you to enjoy today's edition. Yes, we'll be talking about buildings, and what are we really going to be talking about? Buildings. We'll be talking about some inferior materials being used when it comes to constructions of buildings, skyscrapers, bungalows, just name it. And also we'll be looking at some of these dilapidated buildings in the country. What really is the cause of these? And also we'll look at the collapse in some of the buildings being constructed by our engineers, talking about civil engineers, just name them. They are the ones in charge of construction, the architects, just name them. But this wonderful morning, we have a seasoned civil engineer. He's not just a civil engineer, but a fellow in the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineering, and also the chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineer in Osun State. Yes, my guest this wonderful morning is Engineer Bashir Abiola. You're welcome to AM Cafe.
Good morning, moderator. Good to have me again, and good morning to the viewers at home.
Yeah, good morning to you as well. Let's talk about this. It's all about a lot of people are so much concerned about how constructions are, especially in Nigeria. We found out that a lot of inferior materials are being used lately, just to make ends meet. As a professional, somebody that has been in this job for decades, why do you think people use inferior materials?
Thank you once again. In all honesty, it beats my heart. You know, this issue of usage of inferior materials. You know, so this is not how it started. So it is a moral decadence that necessitated the issue of having inferior materials rolled out in the market. So with regards to usage in construction, it is a menace that people now they prioritize profits over safety. So they prioritize profit over safety. I was in a meeting with one of the steel manufacturer yesterday, so Quantum Steel. So when the Zoom meeting, so Quantum Steel, so Mr. Amit, and he was just making us realize the quality control, the quality assurance of their own particular product. And I asked a particular question. I throw it at him that, okay, don't you guys have a union?
Yeah.
Because I made him realize your ears must then be full. Though with regards to the issue of undersized reinforcement, that's the iron steel, undersized steel, so low quality of the steel that we have in the local market. So you cannot exonerate yourself, because most people that purchase these materials, they are not learned. So we have laymen that just go to the market to purchase their material by themselves. So not all projects come to the engineer or the contractor as turnkey. Turnkey is they give you the material, they give you the resources as well. So they give you man and labor and material together. So but in this one, maybe okay, the clients make you realize, okay, you are handling labor only. Why I handle material? You understand? They go to the market themselves, they purchase the material. So without knowing, okay, probably the quality to go for. So I'm not like, okay, are you telling me there is no way you steel manufacturers, you assess yourself? So self-assessment, without even people having this outcry, you understand? So you self-assess yourself, because before you try to set up a company, probably you would have your specifications of what you want to roll out. So it is not the regulatory body, their own aspect is for them to like, okay, check the conformity to the standard. Okay, this is your specification, they check it, is it in line with the mandatory conformity assessment program of Nigeria industrial standard. So if it is it comply with that, then it is just for them to come per time to check if the standard still remains. So but on your own part as a manufacturer, you would have, you know, put in motion the specification you want to do now. So what are you trying to do? And it was trying to make me realize they don't have a kind of association, so they don't interrelate. So he is specific about what they manufacture themselves and was still hammering on the quality of what they produce. So and that's an unfortunate aspect of it, because you don't work in isolation.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't work in isolation. It's also as if, okay, your particular thing, even if people know, okay, your particular item is the best in the market, you cannot be assured that, okay, you will get it on all across all the markets we have in Nigeria. So there should be a way these even manufacturers, those that feel that they are better for what they are producing, to self-assess themselves and their other allies, that they work together.
Now, these inferior materials that we're talking about, how can they be identified? Because when you go to buy all those things, they look so much alike, and people just buy it. And some people even say that, well, you might come up with something else. Some say that most of you guys extort them. That's why they go and buy it themselves.
I will talk about extortion. So that's an understatement. So and no engineer, no professional will extort a client, because before you engage, when you engage an engineer, you understand. So there's going to be an agreement. Talk about, you know, a document. So that will bind yourself. Talk about a contract. You understand, that will bind you, the client, and the engineer, who is the contractor. So we would have go through it, go through the pricing and agree. So to the pricing, negotiation done before the contract is signed. So because talk about contract, you have offer and acceptance. So in terms of contracting, so in the situation where, okay, you already agree to the terms of the contract, it has been signed. So the issue of extortion will not be entertained. So now it is when you go into a contract, you know, probably, you know, by the side. Yeah. Maybe you enter into contracts based on, okay, familiarity, not based on professionalism. Yeah. Okay, this is my brother, this is my cousin, you understand, this is my religious spiritual father's son, you understand. So then you use familiarity to go enter into a contract. That's when the issue of extortion will come up. But if you enter into a contract in a professional manner, that you have, you know, the agreement signed, so all the terms, you know, so being looked into, negotiation done and agreed, so the issue of extortion will not come into play whatsoever.
All right, you're a civil engineer, and you deal more with steel, which is very important, especially when it comes to building bridges and even building skyscrapers, building maybe a story or two-story buildings. And you go out there, you see inferior steels, you see substandard, and you see the very quality ones. As an institution, what are you doing to make sure that you discourage those that are selling these inferior? Because if there are no inferior, and the only ones that are available in the market are the superior ones, even those that are saying that they are extorting them will be forced to go and buy the superior ones. But we still see all these inferior in the market. So what are you doing to make sure that such has been eradicated?
Thank you. We can't do it all alone, but we can only advocate, you know, sensitize the public you know. So, and as well, you know, try and make our position known to the government of the day. So with regards to this issue of inferior materials, so like I do say it, give it to the government. We are good at policy making, we are good at legislation, we are good at, you know, having all the standards that requires, and even they will back it up with the personnel that we implement and make sure those legislation, you know, are adhered to. But unfortunately, we don't take it to the later. So when you have a legislation in place, okay, do not steal. If you steal, okay, this is the implication, this is penalty. So you see somebody steal, and so the armor of the government, you understand, for you to hit it on the person, then you start, you know, probably, you know, maneuvering, probably maybe having influence and or whatnot. Yeah. Then the issue will just die down, and will be swept under the carpet. So this issue of inferior, whichever manufacturer that engaged in, you know, having inferior material that is against the standard that has been set by Nigeria Industrial Standardization, which is an arm of SON, yeah. So Standardization of Nigeria, yeah. You understand? So they have a penalty, and that penalty can go as far as, you know, closing down of the company. So, but okay, how many of that have we seen? You understand? So, like one of the advocacy we had as an institution, that was January 25th, we had a walk against building and infrastructure collapse all over Nigeria. So that was done to sensitize the public, because like we do say, if you don't educate them, you don't blame them. So we try to educate the public, consult professionals in your construction. So just like you rightly said, you may not know. I called a steel distributor like 2 weeks ago. I was working on a quote. Please, how much is 16 mm per ton? He told me 870,000 naira. I was like, is it the full or not full? He said, if it is the full 16 mm, it is 1,050,000 naira. So now imagine if I had not known that we now have two different sizes, which was not supposed to be so. So I would just go for the 870,000 naira, and when it gets to site, if peradventure, so the right professional is not engaged, and he will just, okay, it's 16 mm, so he just use it, not knowing the 16 mm he wants to use is now probably maybe 13 mm. So, and talk about design, if you use 16 mm for your design and you are using 13 mm, then your structure is bound to have issues. Let me not even say collapse now. You understand? So it's bound to have issue. Failure may occur. You understand? At any point in time, because it is, if the failure is now pronounced, that it leads to collapse. You understand? So that's the issue. So most of these the sellers and the manufacturers as well, the government, they should do more. The government agency that regulate that, they should do more. We on our part, we are trying our best in terms of advocacy, you know, in terms of sensitizing the government, in terms of engaging the manufacturers. Like I already told you now, it was the Lagos chapter of Nigeria Institute of Civil Engineer that engaged this quantum steel manufacturer yesterday. So it is part of the advocacy on our own part to see, but we can't do it all by ourselves. You understand? We'll be overwhelmed. So we have government agencies that are mandated so to do that, to checkmate these manufacturers. It's not just about steel, even our timbers. These are our local producers, our people that we have around us, our daddies, our aunties, our uncles. Go to the market now today, you see, you talk about a 2x4 timber wood, you think it is 2x2. And the price keeps skyrocketing. It is not as if, okay, they reduce the dimension so as to reduce the price, so as to make it affordable. It is not affordable. The price keeps, soaring high. So yet you are reducing the quantity, you reduce quality, you reduce quantity. So it is still moral decadence that is causing all this. Talk about even the granite, you don't have the right gradation, the right grades of, you need, okay, three-quarter, you will now be telling them, okay, is it three-quarter down or three-quarter up? There shouldn't be anything like a three-quarter down. There shouldn't be anything like three-quarter up. You understand?
I understand you, because there was a time somebody was telling me that he went to buy some toilets like that, and they were telling him that, okay, this one is the superior one, and this one is the inferior, and they're trying to let him know that if you buy this inferior, which is lesser than the superior, by the time you use it for like 2-3 years, the white will become brown and you will not be able to get the white color. So but this is becoming too much in this country. Now, talking about implications, you just mentioned implications. Now, these inferior materials, how does it compromise the structural integrity and safety of buildings, especially in Nigeria?
So, in fact, I can boldly say that the 95% of collapse is caused by inferior materials. So, because it is inferior material that has stocked in markets. So I talk about any materials we need in construction. Is it even the ordinary Portland cement? We've seen cases where they mix stone dust with cement, they rebag it. Just you can imagine how bad the situation is. So they'll go and rebag inside. They take some quantity of the real cement, then they now mix it with stone dust that looks more or less the color of cement, just to maximize profits. So the implication cannot be overemphasized, and the negative impact is very high. So I like I really said, and I've been saying, so keep advocating. So the governments should try come to the aid of the people, and even the people themselves, they should try as much as possible to ensure they safeguard their property, they safeguard their finances, and safeguard their life. So by contacting and constructing their projects to the right professionals. So there's nothing to be experienced, there's nothing to be an expertise. So an artisan may be experienced, talk about, okay, I've been doing this thing for decades, you understand, but talk about the expertise. Whichever one that comes, whichever technology that comes, an expert will key into it because he's an expert. Well, but the person that has experience, he just experience, okay, maybe what you have been doing part time, so maybe like, okay, garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out. But when another technology comes, it may have issue with it. So, but when you consult the right professionals, qualified, licensed professional to handle your job, you should be rest assured that, because even this issue of inferior material, since we know, okay, there's something we can do to it, we just try to play around it. Even we try to now over design. We try to over design now to make sure that our projects are safe, because we can't help ourselves. We can't be the manufacturer of the materials ourselves. So we just engage ourselves in the construction aspect. So by that situation, that, okay, this is the situation we find ourselves, it is just for us to make ourselves relevant. So in that situation, until the issue of these substandard materials and other aspects affecting our structures is brought down. So we still try to ensure, okay, this we talk about like I was saying, three-quarter down, three-quarter up. We just make sure, okay, you will stand it to whatever we want, okay, to the layman terminology. Okay, this is what we want. How do you call this one? Now, if I need 2x2 material, 2x2 plank now, since I know it is 2x2 I want, and I know if I buy the 2x2 in the market, I will not get that dimension. If it is the one they now sell 2x3, that is 2x2, I will make it my own 2x2 in my quotes. So if it is the 2x6 that they are selling as 2x4, I will make sure I use that 2x6 in my coat to ensure that I still get 2x4 complete because that's what is needed.
All right, because the time is just running out. We still have to shift gear to Yoruba language to talk about all those things that we've been talking about. But before we shift gear to our own language, which is Yoruba, I'm talking about dilapidation. What are the primary causes of this dilapidation of buildings, especially in Nigeria?
In fact, like talk about dilapidation, we can't do without it because even our body, no matter how you take care of your body, so wear and tear will still set in. So wear and tear will still set in, you know. So there's what called terminal illness, you know. So if you have lived, and there's another thing we call the design lifespan.
Right.
So if you have outlived your design lifespan, so and you are using extra, so expect more maintenance of your body to sustain your health. So now talk about the issue of dilapidation. Although we have human factors as well, because there is what we call maintenance. We have aspect of maintenance. We have proactive maintenance. We have reactive maintenance as well. So part of proactive maintenance are the routine maintenance that we do to ensure that our projects, our structure still our structures are okay. So during the lifespan for which they are being designed. So part of the routine maintenance or periodic maintenance are probably maybe you can try to repaint your structure, you understand. So because when you do your coating, your painting, which is a external painting, so that we reduce the external aggression. Talk about the effect of weather on your structure. It will protect your structure, the effect of weather on it. Then talk about your plumbings. So you know your plumbings, because water is not always friendly with structure. So you check your plumbings. Is there no leakage? So all those routine maintenance, you try and engage professionals in routine maintenance. In fact, in fertility maintenance agencies is a big deal in most commercial structures. So, but you know, in private and residential, we don't take it as if okay, we needed all those maintenance or services engineers on ground to help us check our structures, you know, if there's any issues that needs to be attended to. So we always wait until we now saw an impact, probably maybe a failure on one part, so before we now react. That's why I'm like, okay, we have a reactive maintenance. But in a situation where okay, you engage professionals to in the routine maintenance, periodic maintenance of your structure, then the issue of dilapidation would have been brought to a minimum. So, but initially, you don't engage with that, then you have to react to whatever that comes so your way, so part time.
Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ká ṣì máa bá ètò yìí lọ, onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ wa Engineer Abiola àwọn náà wà ní orí ètò lẹ́yìn, a sì ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ayédèrú àwọn ohun èlò tí àwọn èèyàn máa ń lò láti fi kọ́lé. Kí nìdí tí wọ́n fi ń lo àwọn ayédèrú tí wọ́n fi ń kọ́lé yìí? Kí ni ìmọ̀ràn tí wọ́n ní fún àwọn tó ń lo àwọn ayédèrú tó fi ń kọ́lé yìí? Àti kí ni àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ kí àwọn èèyàn gan máa lò gan? Mo la ṣe gbé onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ wa wá sí orí ètò lẹ́yìn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo bí àwọn èèyàn ṣe ń lo àwọn ayédèrú èlò irin ní o, iyẹ̀pẹ̀ gan, sìmẹ́ǹtì gan, gbogbo ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ní ló ti fẹ́ da ayédèrú. Kí lẹ rò pé kí lọ́nà àbáyọ?
Ẹ ṣeun gan lóòtú, mo kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa nílé káàárọ̀. In fact ìmọ̀ràn mi pé ṣẹ́rí gbogbo ayédèrú nǹkan kan yìí, ìwà ìbàjẹ́ náà ni ó ti ó ti di tọrọfọkálé ni ó fà tí ó fi di pé gbogbo nǹkan ayédèrú yìí tó yẹ pé ó fi wá jẹ́ pé kò sí ibi tẹ́ ẹ dé gbogbo ẹ̀ ayédèrú ní báyìí nìsín so ó ti di tọrọfọkálé nítorí pé àwọn èèyàn wa àwo ààbò ẹ̀mí mọ́ owó là ń wá owó so kí kò sí ìṣòwò náà ní jèrè kò sẹ́ni tó níkẹ́ni tó ń ṣòwò kó má jèrè ṣùgbọ́n èrè àjẹpajúdé so òun ló ń fà tó fi jẹ́ pé a fi ń ṣe gbogbo nǹkan ayédèrú yìí àyìn tó wá ń dùn mí jù ni pé ṣẹ́rí tí ẹ bá ṣe ní tí ó tọ́ tẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn ó rà á so gbogbo àwọn èmi ní irin yìí sì ẹni tí ò bá mọ̀ nísìn tí ẹ bá fẹ́ lọ ra rin tí ìjẹ́ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹni tó jẹ́ pé akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ ni ó fẹ́ lọ rà á so tó bá pè kan fún yín ní 100 naira so tó pè kan fún yín ní 150 so mọ́ra ti kí àwọn èèyàn ní pé irọ́ ọlọ́dẹ naira yẹn ṣèbí irin náà ní irin jẹ́ òun ni wọ́n fẹ́ rà láì jẹ́ pé 50 naira yòókù yẹn náà yóò ní nǹkan tí a tún gbọ́
àtúndì fi ra
nǹkan míì so but ẹni tó jẹ́ akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ ẹ̀ tó ń tí wọ́n bá lọ bẹ̀ a ti mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ pé nǹkan ayédèrú ó ti di tọrọfọkálé so àáfẹ́ mọ̀ pókè ọlọ́dẹ naira yìí á wò pé ṣé ó lè ṣiṣẹ́ tí ó ní fi 150 yìí lè ṣe so tí ò bá lè ṣe ó ní 150 yẹn náà láàpadà rà so nítorí pé àwa kọ́ ni a kó àwọn kìíní sí orí igbá so àwa kọ́ la kó sórí igbá àwọn ìjọba náà dẹ̀ ni wọ́n yẹ kí wọ́n ṣàánú àwọn aráàlú láti jẹ́ pé kí gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ ayédèrú yìí tí kò lọ pẹ̀lú ìlànà ìjọba tẹ́ pé wọ́n tàn kalẹ̀ láti jẹ́ pé àwọn láti afẹ́ kọ́lé afẹ́ ṣe ọ̀nà afẹ́ ṣe nǹkan gbogbo àwọn ayédèrú yẹn so tí ò meet up pẹ̀lú standard yẹn kí ìjọba kọ́ bá wa fi ọwọ́ páńpẹ́ òfin mú wọn tó bá company tó bá ṣe iléeṣẹ́ tó bá máa tì kí wọ́n tì í nítorí pé gbogbo ilé ń wó kíní kan ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí ní tí ayédèrú àwọn kíní material ayédèrú yẹn ní tí ó ń dálẹ̀ òun ló pọ̀ jù nínú gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ because tí yàn bá tẹ̀ ṣe tí a pè kankan ní poor workmanship bóyá àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣe iṣẹ́ yẹn gan tí bí àwọn bá gẹ̀tẹ̀ dáadáa èmi ti yín tí material tán lò yẹn tó bá dáa gbogbo issue poor workmanship yẹn ó sì ní minimal kíní láti jẹ́ pé kò impact ẹ̀ ń pọ̀ kò pọ̀ bí pé ó yá impact pé òkè o ẹni tí a ṣe ẹ̀mọ̀ tẹ́ bá lé sí tẹ́ pé ẹ̀ rí wọn rí lẹ́yìn dáadáa ojú nìyẹn ẹ ti fojú wò pé wọn rẹ dáadáa still náà kò affect integrity structural integrity project yẹn bọ̀ pé ilé yìí kan rí kó di àwòyanu òun ní irú yẹn pé ilé yẹn wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe dáadáa ilé yẹn bó ṣe fine ẹgẹ́ wọ́n lè kun lé bàlàbàlà nísìn kò affect tí táyé pé paint ọ̀dà tí wọ́n lò tó bá dáa nǹkan tá a kàn máa wò ní ẹni wọ́n dẹ̀ wá wọn kun lé yẹn dáadáa o but wọ́n lè kun dáadáa kó jẹ́ pé ọ̀dà tán lò yẹn kódà yẹn má dáa kẹ́ pé kó má lo oṣù kan kẹ́ pé gbogbo ẹ̀ kó tún ti bó dànù ṣe ti gẹ́gẹ́ báyìí so òun ló fi jẹ́ pé àwọn nǹkan ayédèrú yẹn òun gangan ló ń affect gbogbo pé eléwo failure ń ṣẹlẹ̀ kankan yẹn so àwa ń rọ àwọn èèyàn wa náà pé ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí àìjú pé àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ ní kí wọ́n máa bá yín mójútó àwọn material tá à ń lò yìí gan fún ilé kíkọ́ wa fún gbogbo ohun amáyédẹrùn tá a bá ń ṣe nítorí pé kí ni àwọn wọ́n ti mọ ohun tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílùú àdẹ̀ lè sọ gbádùn ká sọ pé àṣìṣe mọ́ àwa náà ti wá jókòó àti gbogbo ókè o àbí ta nílùú lélẹ́yìn sìn ọ̀nà ó la lè gbà lo àwọn nǹkan yìí náà láti jẹ́ pé tí a fi ní run out of business jẹ́ pé a sì tún ní jẹ́ pé a tún mọ́ put àwọn èèyàn wa into problem so òun ló fi jẹ́ pé à ń try ọ̀nà àwọn part láyé pé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yìí a ti mọ bá a ṣe lè lò ó ibi tí ẹ ká sì lo mẹ́rin tẹ́tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí pé ká lo mẹ́fà á lo mẹ́fà so òun ni ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú wa.
ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú kí n tó ka tó wà lọ lórí ètò àwọn èèyàn gan tiẹ̀ wọ́n ń tàbò ẹ̀yin onímọ̀ iṣẹ́ ẹ̀rọ ẹ̀wọ̀n ní ẹ̀yin gan ni agbátẹrù ká lọ máa ra ayédèrú nǹkan pé ẹ ti gba kọ́bọ̀ márùn-ún lọ́wọ́ ẹni tí ó ṣe nǹkan kò kún mọ́ eléyìí tó dáa kò fún mọ eléyìí tí ò dáa ẹjẹ ara eléyìí náà ṣiṣẹ́ oye owó tó fún wa kí lè rí sí yẹn.
onímọ̀ kò sí onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ tó dáńtọ́ tó lè ṣe irú nǹkan báyẹn so kò sí onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ náà because a ní ìlànà tá à ń tẹ̀lé a dẹ̀ ní guides tá à ń tẹ̀lé tó jẹ́ ethics profession wa tẹ́ pé ó guide wa so pẹ̀lú gbogbo bá a ṣe ń ṣe bá a ṣe ń operate so kò sí onímọ̀ràn náà tẹ́ pé because àwọn kan lè pé onímọ̀ràn tó wà license nítorí tí ajé ìwà bàjẹ́ bá ṣí mọ́ lórí ó ń lọ sí nìyẹn yóò lọ sí ni kò sí tẹ́ bá rí ibi tẹ́ pé wíyá bírí kò láti wáyà bí pé kíríkan tó bá yẹ pé onímọ̀ràn kan bá wà mẹ́tẹ́ pé ajé ìwà bá wà lórí tiẹ̀ náà so yóò lọ sí yọwọ́ páńpẹ́ òfin ìjọba yóò mú so òun kò sí onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ náà ní tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ ní pé bóyá òkè wọn mo dẹ̀ sọ wọn kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà ní òyìnbó tí a bá fẹ́ ṣe contract ẹ jẹ́ á má fi pé àbúrò mi ni ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ni ẹ jẹ́ ká lo professionalism pókè o ká dì pẹ̀lú ra wa in a professional manner láti jẹ́ pókè o iṣẹ́ ta fẹ́ ṣe yìí ẹ jájọ tọwọ́ bọ̀wé òkè èló ni nǹkan ta fẹ́ ṣe gbé bíìlì yẹn wá ẹ gbé fẹ́ni tí ó tún bá yín yẹ̀ wò wípé ṣé tí ẹni yìí fún mi yìí náà ṣé ó wà in line kẹjọ tọwọ́ bọ̀wé tẹ bá ti lọ́jọ́ tọwọ́ bọ̀wé ó ti tàn ìgbà tẹ́tí jẹ́ pé ti jọ agree nìyẹn ẹ má kánjú láti jẹ́ pé òkè òkè ní mo fẹ́ ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká take due diligence pé òkè gbogbo ọ̀nà tó bá yẹ ká tọ̀ láti jẹ́ pé ká fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìyẹn lè fi oṣù mẹ́fà plan nìkan kó yẹ pé ó lè máa take ní 3 months láì pé kó fi execute kó fi kọ so but tẹ́ a bá plan tẹ́ pé a kàn ń ṣe gidigidi wá mo fẹ́ sáré ṣe kíni ó yá ẹ̀ka ṣáà mẹ́nìkan ó yá ṣáà dánú pọ̀ mọ́ sápàtì pé ẹ ṣáà yá ṣe kíni kó dodidi òun náà ló máa ń fa gbóró rẹ̀ bọ̀ ti pé onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ ń ṣe orúkọ ó ti di tọrọ fọ́kálé bíríkìlà náà nìsín onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ náà ni wọ́n ń pè wọ́n ẹgẹ́ rẹ̀ kápẹ́ńtà onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ náà ni tó kò jẹ́ kí onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ náà ká mọ kó èwo léwo ẹlòmíì rẹ̀ tí máa rí jọ́bù tí máa lọ sáìtì tó ń pè ẹnjìníà tó wà sáìtì lélẹ̀ máa gbà kí bóò ni tiẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ rárá nígbà bíríkìlà ni mí so àyè tẹ́ ń ba onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ jẹ́ irú òun ní ìsirú wọn ni wọ́n máa ń di pé àwọn náà máa ń láì pé kán sọ̀rọ̀ wájú pọ̀ mọ́ tìpà kan so.
ẹ ṣeun onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ wa Abiola Bashir adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín pé àpèyìn ẹ̀ sì jẹ́ wa lórí ètò lẹ́nu. Well, that's how far we can go on today's edition of AM Cafe. I've been talking to a fellow at the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineer. He's also the chairman of that chapter in Osun State, talking about Engineer Bashir Abiola. And we're talking about inferior materials being used, especially when it comes to construction of buildings, and also the reason behind some collapse in some buildings in Nigeria. And he's been able to explain all these things for us. All right, just like I said, that's how far we can go on today's edition of AM Cafe. My name is David Ojo. Join my colleague tomorrow morning for another edition of AM Cafe. From now, I say bye for now.
ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Titolúwa ni. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Titolúwa ni bẹ́ẹ̀. Àlàáfíà rẹ̀ kalẹ̀. Iṣẹ́ rere rẹ̀ olópin. Ẹ bá wa gbé lárugẹ. A máa jú wa ṣe. Ire ayọ̀ ìbùkún ní títí wa. Lọ́jọ́ gbogbo. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun Titolúwa ni. Tí Olúwòrò ní sẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ yìí. Titolúwa ni. Àlàáfíà rẹ̀ kalẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ. A máa tún wá ṣe o. We declare peace in this land, lọ́jọ́ gbogbo.
Ilẹ̀ yàtọ̀ wá, ara àtún wá o.
Kílẹ̀ wa kún fóun tó dùn, ìbáyín kékeré kórè sọ́hun. Kílẹ̀ ra wa bọ̀ wá sípò, ohun gbogbo máa lọ létòlétò.
Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ó yá gbàgbára Olúwa ní ìfẹ́ òtítọ́ ìfẹ́ ìṣẹ̀tàn gbógun wà sáàárín wa lórúkọ Jésù Olùgbàlà.
In unity and harmony. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Titolúwa ni.
Titolúwa
Àlàáfíà rẹ̀
iṣẹ́ rere rẹ̀ ló gbé. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé lárugẹ. Kò gbọdọ̀ sí rúkèrúdò. Nínú ìfẹ́ làlàáfíà wà. Ìbùkún ní tàwa lọ́jọ́ gbogbo.
In the early morning of September the 5th, 2021, Alpha Conde, a notorious insomniac, had finally fallen asleep at the first light of dawn. A few days earlier, he had been in Sardinia, visiting a friend, an Italian Eritrean entrepreneur, Makonnen Asmoron. The two had met to prepare for President Isaias Afwerki's official visit to Conakry, scheduled for 9th of September. However, Conde never knew that in fact, in just a few hours, he would no longer be president, and all that he had planned was not